The parking lot was almost empty. The overhead lights flickered and hummed in the cold night air. Annabelle's breath came out in short clouds as she ran across the asphalt. Her heels clicked too loud against the concrete. She could hear him behind her. Not running. Walking. He never had to run because he always caught up eventually. Her heart slammed against her ribs. The hospital entrance was too far. The few cars scattered in the lot were locked and dark. There was no one. No one except the man standing near a black sedan under one of the working lights. She didn't think. She just moved. Annabelle threw herself at him. Her arms wrapped around his torso, and she pressed her face against his chest. The fabric of his coat was soft and expensive. He went completely still. She could feel the tension in his body. He didn't know her. She didn't know him. But she held on anyway. She tilted her head up just enough to meet his eyes. They were dark and unreadable. His face was beautiful in a cold way. Sharp jawline. Perfect skin. Black hair pushed back from his forehead. He looked down at her without expression. Annabelle's voice came out barely above a whisper. Please, just pretend you know me. His eyes narrowed slightly. He didn't pull away. He didn't push her off. For a moment, he just stared at her. Then his gaze shifted over her shoulder. She felt his body change. The stillness became something else. Something dangerous. Annabelle. The voice behind her made her flinch. She gripped the stranger's coat tighter. The man she was holding didn't move. He just kept looking past her with those cold, dark eyes. David's footsteps came closer. She could hear the confidence in them. The ownership. Baby, what are you doing? Come here. The stranger's hand came up slowly. His fingers touched her waist. Light. Careful. Like he was asking permission. Annabelle pressed closer to him. His hand settled more firmly against her side. You know this man? The stranger's voice was quiet. Accented. His Korean accent wrapped around the English words in a way that made them sound softer than they should have been. Annabelle shook her head against his chest. No. Annabelle, stop playing games. David was right behind her now. This is embarrassing. Let's go home and talk about this. The stranger's other hand came up. He touched her chin and tilted her face up toward his. His eyes searched hers. She didn't know what he was looking for. She didn't know what he saw. But something in his expression shifted. He looked over her shoulder at David. She says she doesn't know you. This is between me and my girlfriend. David's voice got harder. Step away from her. She's holding on to me. The stranger said it like he was commenting on the weather. I don't think she wants to go with you. Annabelle could feel David getting angry. She knew the signs. The way he breathed. The silence before he exploded. She turned her head just enough to see him. He was standing 3 feet away. Tall. Handsome in the way that had fooled her 2 years ago. His jaw was tight. His hands were clenched. You don't know what you're getting into. David took a step forward. Let her go. Now. The stranger didn't move. His hand stayed on her waist. Steady. Warm through the thin fabric of her shirt. No. Just that. Nothing else. No explanation. No justification. Just no. David's face went red. Do you know who I am? I'm a lawyer. I have connections. You're going to regret this. The stranger tilted his head slightly. The gesture was almost curious. Are you threatening me? I'm telling you to back off before you get hurt. 2 men appeared from somewhere in the shadows. Annabelle hadn't seen them before. They moved like they'd been waiting. Both were Asian. Both wore dark suits. Both looked at the stranger like they were waiting for orders. The stranger didn't look at them. He kept his eyes on David. You should leave. David laughed. It wasn't a real laugh. You think I'm scared of you and your friends? Annabelle, I'm giving you one more chance. Come here right now, or I swear to God you'll regret it. The stranger's fingers tightened on her waist. Just a fraction. She's not going anywhere. This is kidnapping. I'll call the police. Call them. The stranger's voice stayed quiet. Calm. Like none of this mattered to him at all. Tell them you were chasing a woman through a parking lot at night. Tell them she ran from you. Tell them she's afraid of you. David's expression changed. The anger was still there, but something else came into his eyes. Calculation. Annabelle, tell him. Tell him you're coming home with me. Annabelle's throat felt tight. She couldn't make words come out. The stranger must have felt her trembling because his hand moved up to the back of her neck. His thumb brushed against her skin. The touch was gentle. Breathe, he said quietly. Just to her. Like David wasn't even there. She pulled an air. It hurt going down. David took another step forward. One of the men in suits moved to block him. David stopped. His eyes went from the stranger to Annabelle and back again. This isn't over. You hear me, Annabelle? This isn't over. You can't just leave. You can't just walk away from me. She already did. The stranger's thumb kept moving against her neck. Slow. Soothing. Leave. Don't come back. Or what? David spread his hands. You'll hurt me? In front of witnesses? In a hospital parking lot with cameras everywhere. The stranger smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. I don't need to hurt you. You'll hurt yourself. Men like you always do. David stared at him. Something passed between them. Something Annabelle didn't understand. Then David looked at her one more time. You're making a mistake. You need me. You have nothing without me. No visa. No job. No place to live. You'll come crawling back. He turned and walked away. His footsteps echoed across the parking lot. Annabelle watched until he disappeared around the corner of the hospital building. Her whole body was shaking now. The adrenaline was leaving and everything felt weak. The stranger's arms came around her. Full and sure. He pulled her against his chest and held her there. She could hear his heartbeat. Steady. Unaffected. Like he dealt with situations like this every night. He's gone, the stranger said. Annabelle nodded against his coat. She knew she should let go. She knew she should step back and thank him and figure out what to do next. But her arms wouldn't move. She just stood there holding on to someone she didn't know while two men in suits watched silently. The stranger didn't push her away. He just held her and waited. After a long time, Annabelle pulled back enough to look up at him. Thank you. He studied her face. His eyes moved over her features like he was memorizing them. Are you hurt? No. Did he hurt you before? Is that why you ran? Annabelle swallowed. She didn't want to answer that. She didn't want to talk about the bruises that had faded or the ones that hadn't. She didn't want to explain 2 years of slowly losing herself. The stranger seemed to understand. He nodded once. Do you have somewhere safe to go? That was the question, wasn't it? Annabelle looked down. I don't know. Family? Friends? She shook her head. Her family was in Nigeria. Her friends were David's friends. The apartment was David's apartment. Her visa was dependent on her student status, but she'd had to drop out last semester because David convinced her she didn't need school. She had nothing. David was right about that part. The stranger was quiet for a moment. Then he said something in Korean to the two men. They both nodded and walked away toward another car. The stranger looked back at Annabelle. What's your name? Annabelle. Annabelle. He said it carefully, getting the sounds right. I'm Minjun. She realized she was still holding on to his coat. She made herself let go. Her hands felt empty. Cold. Minjun shrugged out of his coat and put it around her shoulders. It was warm from his body. It smelled like expensive cologne and something else she couldn't name. Get in the car, Minjun said. Annabelle looked at the black sedan. Then at him. I don't know you. No. You could be dangerous. Yes. At least he was honest. Annabelle pulled his coat tighter around herself. Why did you help me? Minjun was quiet. He looked at her with those dark eyes that gave nothing away. You asked me to. That was all. No big explanation. No hero speech. Just the simple truth. She'd asked and he'd answered. Annabelle made a choice. She got in the car. Minjun walked around and slid into the driver's seat. He started the engine but didn't drive. He looked over at her. Where was he taking you? Before you ran. Home. His home. Is your name on the lease? No. Do you have things there you need? Annabelle thought about her clothes. Her books. Her laptop. Her mother's necklace. Yes. Minjun pulled out his phone and typed something. Give me the address. She did. He sent the message and put the phone away. Then he finally pulled out of the parking space and drove toward the exit. Where are we going? Annabelle asked. Somewhere safe. That wasn't really an answer, but Annabelle was too tired to push. She leaned her head against the window and watched the city lights blur past. Seoul at night was beautiful. She'd thought that when she first arrived 3 years ago. She'd been so excited. New country. New language. New life. She was going to get her master's degree and then maybe stay and work. Maybe build something here. Then she met David at an international student mixer. He was American, but he'd been in Korea for 5 years. He knew everyone. He knew everything. He made her feel special. Safe. Like she finally had someone on her side in this foreign place. She didn't know when it changed. When he started checking her phone. When he started deciding who she could see. When he convinced her to move in with him, and then convinced her to drop her classes because they took too much time away from him. When the first time he grabbed her arm hard enough to bruise became the second time, and then the third. If you're watching from somewhere safe tonight, drop a comment and let me know where you are watching from. If this story is hitting different, hit that like button. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, share it with them. Sometimes we all need reminded that running toward a stranger is braver than staying with the familiar monster. The car stopped. Annabelle blinked and realized they were in an underground garage. Minjun got out and came around to open her door. She stepped out and looked around. Everything was clean and expensive. The kind of place where each parking space probably cost more than her tuition had. Minjun walked toward an elevator. Annabelle followed. They rode up in silence. The elevator was all mirrors and gold. Annabelle caught sight of herself and almost didn't recognize the woman looking back. Her hair was messy. Her makeup was smudged. Her eyes looked huge and frightened. The elevator opened directly into an apartment. Not a hallway. Not a lobby. Just straight into a massive open space with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Annabelle stepped out slowly. The floors were dark wood. The furniture was minimal and modern. Everything was in shades of black and white and gray. It looked like a magazine spread, like no one actually lived here. Minjun walked to the kitchen and poured water into a glass. He brought it to her. "Drink." She did. The water was cold and clean. It helped. Minjun watched her drink. Then he said, "There are 3 bedrooms. You can choose which one you want. The bathroom has everything you need. I'll have your things brought here tomorrow." Annabelle lowered the glass. "I can't stay here." "Why not?" "Because I don't know you. Because this is crazy. Because..." She trailed off. Because she didn't have any other options. Because she was terrified David would find her if she tried to go to a hotel. Because this stranger with the cold eyes had made her feel safer in 10 minutes than David had in 2 years. Minjun took the glass from her hands and set it on the counter. "You're tired. You're scared. You don't have to make any decisions tonight. Just sleep. Tomorrow we'll figure out what comes next." "Who are you?" Annabelle asked. "Really? Someone who can keep you safe." "That's not an answer." Minjun's mouth almost smiled. "Almost. No, it's not." He showed her to one of the bedrooms. It was bigger than the apartment she'd shared with David. The bed was massive. There were fresh towels in the attached bathroom. Minjun told her to lock the door if it made her feel better. Then he left. Annabelle did lock the door. Then she sat on the edge of the bed and put her face in her hands. She didn't cry. She'd stopped crying months ago. Crying didn't help. Crying just made David angrier. She took a shower instead. The water was hot and strong. There was expensive shampoo and body wash. She scrubbed herself until her skin was pink. When she got out, she realized she didn't have any clothes except what she'd been wearing. She wrapped herself in a towel and opened the bedroom door carefully. There was a stack of clothes on the floor outside. Sweatpants. A t-shirt. Both too big but clean and soft. Annabelle took them and closed the door again. She put them on. They smelled like laundry detergent and nothing else. She should have been afraid. She should have been planning her escape. But instead she crawled into the bed and pulled the covers up to her chin. The sheets were cool and smooth. The pillow was perfect. Her body melted into the mattress. For the first time in 2 years, Annabelle fell asleep without being afraid of what she'd wake up to. She woke to sunlight streaming through windows she'd forgotten to cover. For a moment she didn't know where she was. Then it all came back. The parking lot. David. Minjun. Annabelle sat up. She could hear sounds from somewhere in the apartment. Quiet movements. She got out of bed and padded to the door. When she opened it, she could smell coffee. Minjun was in the kitchen. He was wearing different clothes. Black pants. White shirt with the sleeves rolled up. His hair was still perfect. He looked up when she came in. "Coffee?" he asked. "Please." He poured her a cup and slid it across the counter. Annabelle wrapped her hands around it. The warmth felt good. "Your things are in the second bedroom," Minjun said. "My men picked them up an hour ago." Annabelle stared at him. "How did they get in?" "Does it matter?" It probably should have. But Annabelle found she didn't care. She was just relieved to have her stuff. Her mother's necklace. Her passport. Her phone. "Thank you." Minjun nodded. He didn't drink coffee. He just stood there watching her. It should have been uncomfortable. It wasn't. "I need to figure out what to do," Annabelle said. "I can't stay here forever." "Why not?" "Because this isn't my life. This isn't my apartment. You're a stranger who helped me one time. I'm grateful, but I can't just move in. You need somewhere safe. This is safe. You don't even know me. I know enough." Annabelle set down her coffee. "What do you know?" Minjun was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "I know you ran from someone who hurt you. I know you have nowhere else to go. I know you're stronger than you think you are because you're still standing here instead of breaking down. His words did something to her chest. Made it tight. Annabelle looked away. What do you want from me? Nothing. People don't help for nothing. Some people do. Annabelle laughed. It came out bitter. Not in my experience. Minjun walked around the counter. He stopped a few feet away from her. Close but not touching. I'm not going to hurt you, Annabelle. I'm not going to touch you without permission. I'm not going to keep you here against your will. You can leave anytime you want. But while you're here, you're safe. That's all I want. For you to be safe. She wanted to believe him. God, she wanted to believe him so badly. But trust was hard when it had been used against her so many times. Why? She asked. Why do you care? Minjun looked at her for a long moment. I don't know yet. At least that was honest. Annabelle spent the day settling in. She unpacked her things in the second bedroom. Everything was there. Even things she hadn't realized she cared about. A photo of her family. A scarf her sister sent her. The books she'd bought before David decided she read too much. Minjun left in the afternoon. He told her to order food if she was hungry. He told her not to open the door for anyone. Then he was gone. Annabelle explored the apartment. It was beautiful and empty. There were no photos. No personal items. Nothing that said who Minjun actually was. The only hint was the books in his office. Most were in Korean, but some were in English. Business. Strategy. History. She was looking at them when her phone rang. David. She stared at his name on the screen. Her hand shook. She let it go to voicemail. 10 seconds later it rang again. And again. And again. Finally she answered. Stop calling me. Baby, please. Just listen. David's voice was soft. Pleading. The voice he used when he wanted something. I'm sorry about last night. I was just worried about you. You scared me when you ran like that. I'm not coming back, David. Where are you? Who is that guy? Are you sleeping with him? And there it was. The real David. The one who couldn't stand the idea of her having anything that wasn't about him. That's none of your business, Annabelle said. Everything about you is my business. You're mine, Annabelle. You don't get to just leave. I already left. You have nothing without me. No visa. No money. No future. You think some random Korean guy is going to take care of you? He'll use you and throw you away. Annabelle's throat felt tight. Goodbye, David. If you hang up on me, I'll find you. You know I will. I'll make your life hell. I'll get you deported. I'll make sure you can never work here again. She ended the call. Then she blocked his number. Her hands were shaking so hard she almost dropped the phone. The apartment door opened. Minjun walked in carrying bags of food. He took one look at her face and set the bags down. What happened? David called. What did he say? Annabelle shook her head. She didn't want to repeat it. Minjun crossed the room and took her phone gently from her hands. He looked at the screen. At the block number. Something in his expression went cold. He threatened you. It wasn't a question. Annabelle nodded. Minjun set her phone on the counter. He pulled out his own phone and made a call. He spoke in rapid Korean. Annabelle couldn't understand the words, but she understood the tone. Cold. Controlled. Dangerous. When he hung up, he looked at her. He won't bother you again. You can't promise that. Yes. I can. There was something in his voice. Something that made Annabelle believe him, even though she knew she shouldn't. What are you going to do? Make sure he understands the consequences of contacting you. Minjun, I don't want you to get in trouble because of me. He stepped closer. His hand came up slowly. He touched her cheek with just his fingertips. The touch was so gentle it made her eyes sting. Let me worry about that. They ate dinner together. Minjun had brought Korean food. He showed her how to eat it. What went with what? How to wrap the meat in lettuce. He didn't ask about David again. He asked about her family instead. About Nigeria. About what she missed most about home. Annabelle found herself talking. Really talking. She told him about her mother who sold fabric in the market. About her father who taught mathematics. About her younger sister who wanted to be a doctor. She told him about growing up in Lagos. About the noise and the color and the life everywhere. Minjun listened. He didn't interrupt. He didn't check his phone. He just listened like what she was saying actually mattered. When she finally stopped talking, she felt embarrassed. Sorry. I talk too much. No, Minjun said. You don't talk enough. You've been quiet for too long. Something about the way he said it made her chest hurt. Like he could see all the ways she'd made herself smaller for David. All the times she'd swallowed her words because it was easier than fighting. Tell me about you, Annabelle said. It's only fair. Minjun smiled slightly. What do you want to know? Anything. Everything. I'm living in your apartment, And I don't even know what you do for work. The smile faded. I run a business. What kind of business? Import and export. Investments. Various other things. That was vague enough to be meaningless. Annabelle thought about the men in suits. The way Min-jun had handled David without raising his voice. The apartment that cost more than she'd make in a lifetime. Legal things. Min-jun met her eyes. Some of them. At least he was honest. Annabelle should have been afraid. She should have packed her things and left. But she didn't. Are you dangerous? Yes. To me? No. How can I trust that? Min-jun leaned back in his chair. You can't. Trust isn't something I can give you. You have to decide for yourself. They looked at each other across the table. Annabelle tried to read his face. Tried to see past the coldness to whatever was underneath. She caught glimpses. Brief moments where something warmer showed through. But mostly he was unreadable. I should be more afraid of you, Annabelle said quietly. Yes. But I'm not. I know. Why is that? Min-jun stood up. He started clearing the dishes. Because you know the difference between someone who wants to hurt you and someone who wants to protect you. You've lived with the first kind. Now you're learning what the second kind feels like. He was right. Annabelle stood and helped him clean up. They moved around the kitchen in silence. It was comfortable. Easy. Nothing like the tense silence she'd lived in with David where every moment felt like waiting for an explosion. That night, Annabelle lay in bed thinking about trust. About safety. About the stranger who'd wrapped his arms around her when she had nothing and no one. She thought about Min-jun's hands. How they'd touched her with such careful gentleness. Like she was something precious. Something that could break. David had touched her like she belonged to him. Like she was property. Min-jun touched her like he was asking permission every time. 3 days passed. Then a week. David didn't call again. Annabelle's phone stayed silent except for messages from her family. She told her mother she was fine. She didn't mention David. She didn't mention Min-jun. She just said she'd moved to a new place. Min-jun came and went. Sometimes he was gone all day. Sometimes he worked from home in his office. He never asked her to leave. He never made her feel unwelcome. He just existed in the same space and let her figure out how to exist there too. Annabelle started cooking. Nigerian food. She made jollof rice and plantains and a egusi soup. Min-jun ate everything she made and asked for recipes. He tried to help, but he was terrible in the kitchen. He cut vegetables wrong. He burned rice. Annabelle found herself laughing at him. It felt strange to laugh. She'd forgotten what it sounded like. One night she was cooking and Min-jun was sitting at the counter watching. She could feel his eyes on her. She was getting used to the way he looked at her. Like he was trying to figure out a puzzle. Can I ask you something? Annabelle said. Yes. That night in the parking lot. Why did you really help me? You could have walked away. Most people would have. Min-jun was quiet. Then he said, My mother left my father when I was 8 years old. He was a violent man. She tried to leave many times, but he always found her. Until one night a stranger helped her. Gave her money. Drove her to a shelter. My father never found us after that. Annabelle stopped stirring and looked at him. Min-jun's face was calm, but his eyes were far away. The stranger didn't know us, Min-jun continued. He didn't know us anything. But he helped because it was the right thing to do. My mother always told me to be like that stranger. To help when I could. To protect people who couldn't protect themselves. What happened to your mother? Annabelle asked quietly. She died when I was 15. Cancer. Min-jun's voice was steady, but something in his eyes flickered. Before she died, she made me promise to be a good man. To use whatever power I had to help people who needed it. And do you? Use your power to help people. Min-jun smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. I try. But I'm not a good man, Annabelle. I've done things your mother wouldn't approve of. I've hurt people. I've made choices that keep me awake at night. But when I can help someone the way that stranger helped my mother, I do. Annabelle turned off the stove. She walked around the counter and stood in front of Min-jun. He looked up at her. She reached out slowly and touched his hand. Just her fingers on his. Light. Tentative. Thank you, she said. For helping me. For keeping your promise to your mother. Min-jun turned his hand over and laced his fingers through hers. His grip was warm and sure. He didn't pull her closer. He just held her hand and looked at her like she was the only thing in the world that mattered. You're welcome, he said. They stood like that for a long moment. Annabelle's heart was beating too fast. She could feel heat climbing up her neck. She started to pull away, but Min-jun's fingers tightened just slightly. Can I ask you something now? He said. Yes. Are you healing? The question caught her off guard. Annabelle thought about it. Really thought about it. I don't know. Maybe. I sleep better. I don't jump every time I hear a noise. I can breathe without feeling like something's wrapped around my chest. So maybe. Good. Minjun let go of her hand. That's good. The days turned into 2 weeks. Annabelle started going out during the day. She walked around the neighborhood. She sat in cafes. She remembered what it felt like to move through the world without fear. She also started noticing things. The way men in suits would appear sometimes when she was out. Always at a distance. Always watching. She knew they were Minjun's people. Keeping her safe. Making sure David didn't find her. It should have felt invasive. It felt safe instead. One afternoon, she came home to find Minjun in the living room with 3 other men. They all stopped talking when she walked in. The men bowed slightly and left. Minjun stood up. Sorry, Annabelle said. I didn't mean to interrupt. You didn't. Minjun walked toward her. How was your day? Good. I went to the library. Started looking at graduate programs again. Something shifted in Minjun's expression. You want to go back to school? I do. I need to figure out my visa situation first, but yes. I want to finish what I started. I can help with that. Annabelle shook her head. You've already done too much. I haven't done anything except give you a safe place to stay. That's not nothing, Minjun. He stepped closer. They were standing very close now. Annabelle could see the small scar near his eyebrow. Could see the exact shade of brown in his eyes. Could smell his cologne. Let me help you, Minjun said quietly. Please. It was the please that broke her. This powerful man who ran a criminal empire and commanded men with a look was asking her permission. Was saying please. Okay, Annabelle whispered. Minjun's hand came up. He touched her face. His thumb traced her cheekbone. You're beautiful when you smile. I'm not smiling. No, but you're close. I can tell. He was right. Annabelle could feel the smile trying to form. She let it. Minjun's eyes went soft. He leaned down slowly, giving her time to pull away. Time to say no. She didn't say no. His lips touched hers gently, carefully, like he was afraid she'd break. Annabelle's hands came up to his chest. She could feel his heart beating fast under her palms. He was nervous. This dangerous man was nervous about kissing her. She kissed him back. Let herself lean into him. Let herself feel safe enough to want this. Minjun pulled back first. He pressed his forehead against hers. Tell me if I'm going too fast. Tell me if you want me to stop. I don't want you to stop. Annabelle. Her name was almost a groan. I need you to be sure. I need you to want this because you want it. Not because you feel like you owe me. Not because you're afraid to say no. She pulled back enough to look at him. Really look at him. I'm not afraid of you, Minjun. I'm afraid of how much I trust you. I'm afraid of what it means that I feel safer with you than I've felt with anyone. But I'm not afraid to say no. If I wanted you to stop, I'd tell you. Promise me. I promise. He kissed her again. Deeper this time. His hands stayed on her face. Gentle and reverent. Like she was precious. When they finally broke apart, Annabelle was breathing hard. Minjun looked wrecked. His hair was messed up from her fingers. His lips were red. His eyes were dark with want. I should go, he said. I have a meeting. Okay. He didn't move. Just stood there looking at her. Finally, he stepped back. I'll be home late. Don't wait up. Be safe. Something flickered across his face. Surprise, maybe. Like he wasn't used to people worrying about him. I will. He left. Annabelle stood in the living room for a long time. Her lips still tingled. Her heart was still racing. She touched her mouth and tried to understand what was happening to her. She was falling for him. For this stranger who'd chosen to protect her. For this dangerous man who touched her like she was made of glass. For Minjun who asked permission and said please and looked at her like she mattered. She should have been scared. She should have been running. She was done running. That night Annabelle couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about the kiss. About Minjun's hands on her face. About the way he'd pulled away even though she could see how much he wanted her. She was lying in bed staring at the ceiling when she heard the apartment door open. Footsteps. A heavy sigh. She got up and padded to the hallway. Minjun was in the kitchen pouring himself a drink. He looked tired. His shirt was untucked. His hair was messy. There was blood on his knuckles. Annabelle's heart jumped. You're hurt. Minjun looked up. It's not mine. That should have scared her. It didn't. Annabelle walked into the kitchen and took his hand. She led him to the sink and turned on the water. She washed the blood off carefully. His knuckles were bruised but not cut. What happened? She asked. Someone needed to learn a lesson. About what? Minjun looked at her. About bothering people who are under my protection. David. He was talking about David. Annabelle's hands stilled. What did you do? Had a conversation. Made some things clear. Nothing permanent. Minjun. He won't bother you again, Annabelle. I made sure of it. She should have asked more questions. She should have demanded details. But she was so tired of being afraid. So tired of looking over her shoulder. If Minjun had done something to make David understand, she couldn't bring herself to care. She dried his hands with a towel. Minjun caught her wrists gently. Are you angry? No. Scared? No. Then what? Annabelle looked up at him. Grateful. Relieved. Safe. Minjun pulled her closer. Slowly, giving her time to resist. She didn't. She let him wrap his arms around her. Let herself lean against his chest and listen to his heartbeat. He smelled like night air and violence and something uniquely him. She should have been disturbed. She wasn't. Come to bed with me, she said quietly. Minjun went very still. Annabelle. Just to sleep. I don't want to be alone tonight. He was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, okay. They walked to her bedroom together. Minjun stopped at the door. I need to shower first. Okay. He disappeared into his own room. Annabelle heard the water running. She climbed into bed and waited. When Minjun came back, he was wearing sweatpants and nothing else. His chest was bare. There were scars on his skin. Old ones. Stories he hadn't told her yet. He stood at the edge of the bed. Are you sure about this? I'm sure. He got in slowly. Stayed on his side of the bed. There was a foot of space between them. Annabelle could feel the tension radiating off him. She rolled over to face him. You can hold me if you want, she said. If I hold you, I might not want to let go. Maybe I don't want you to let go. Minjun reached out. His hands settled on her waist. Then he pulled her close until her back was against his chest. His arm wrapped around her. Strong and sure. His breath was warm on her neck. Sleep, he said quietly. Annabelle closed her eyes. For the first time in years, she felt completely safe. She fell asleep wrapped in the arms of a dangerous man who'd chosen to be gentle with her. She woke up alone. The bed was cold where Minjun had been. Annabelle touched the empty space and felt something twist in her chest. Then she heard sounds from the kitchen. Voices. Angry voices. She got up quickly and pulled on a robe. When she opened the door, she could hear Minjun speaking in Korean. His voice was cold. Hard. Nothing like the gentle way he spoke to her. Another voice answered. Also male. Also angry. Annabelle walked down the hallway quietly. She stopped where she could see into the living room. Minjun was standing with his arms crossed. Facing him was another Korean man. Older. Maybe 50. He was dressed in an expensive suit. His face was twisted with rage. You're making mistakes, the older man said in accented English. Getting soft. All for some woman. Watch your mouth, Minjun said quietly. She's nobody. A distraction. You should send her away before she makes you weak. I said watch your mouth. The older man laughed. It was an ugly sound. Look at you. Already defending her. Already choosing her over the family. Over the business. Your father would be ashamed. Something dangerous flashed in Minjun's eyes. My father is dead. I run this family now. And what I do with my personal life is none of your concern, uncle. Everything you do concerns the family. You bring a stranger into your home. You threaten people over her. You're showing weakness. I'm showing that I protect what's mine. She's not yours. She's a liability. Get rid of her or I will. Minjun moved fast. 1 second he was standing still. The next he had his uncle by the throat pressed against the wall. You will not touch her. You will not speak about her. You will not even look at her. Do you understand? The uncle's face was turning red. He clawed at Minjun's hand. Minjun held him there for another moment, then let go. The uncle stumbled and gasped for air. Get out, Minjun said. The uncle straightened his suit. His eyes were full of hate. This isn't over. The family won't accept this. They won't follow a man who puts a woman before business. Then they can try to replace me. See how that works out. The uncle left. The door slammed behind him. Minjun stood there breathing hard. His hands were clenched into fists. Annabelle stepped into the room. Minjun. He turned. When he saw her, his expression changed. Softened. How much did you hear? Enough. He closed his eyes. I'm sorry. For what? For bringing you into this. For making you a target. Annabelle walked over to him. She took his hands in hers. You didn't bring me into anything. You saved me. There's a difference. He's right, though. You being here makes things complicated. Makes me vulnerable. Then I'll leave. No. Minjun's grip tightened. No. I don't want you to leave. But your family. My family will adjust. Or they won't. Either way, I'm not letting you go. Annabelle looked up at him. Why? Why me? You could have anyone. Someone from your world. Someone who understands. I don't want anyone else. I want you. The words hung in the air between them. Simple. Direct. True. I'm nobody, Annabelle said. I'm just a girl who ran from her abuser and threw herself at a stranger. You're not nobody. Minjun's hands came up to cup her face. You're brave. You're strong. You survived someone who tried to break you, and you're still standing. You're everything. Minjun. He kissed her. Hard and desperate. Like he was trying to prove something. Annabelle kissed him back with the same intensity. Her hands fisted in his shirt. His arms wrapped around her waist and lifted her. Her legs wrapped around him instinctively. He carried her to the couch and sat down with her straddling his lap. His hands stayed on her waist. Holding but not pushing. Wanting but not taking. Annabelle pulled back. They were both breathing hard. What are we doing? I don't know. But I don't want to stop. Your uncle said I'm making you weak. My uncle is an idiot. You make me stronger. You make me want to be better. You're already good, Minjun. You're already. I'm a criminal, Annabelle. I hurt people. I break laws. I run an empire built on violence and fear. I'm not good. You're good to me. Something in his face broke. That's enough. You're enough. He kissed her again. Slower this time. Deeper. His hands moved up her back. Under her robe. His palms were warm against her skin. Annabelle arched into him. She could feel how much he wanted her. But his hands stayed gentle. Asking. Always asking. We should stop, Minjun said against her mouth. Why? Because I want you too much. Because I'm not sure I can be gentle if we keep going. Maybe I don't want gentle. Minjun groaned. His forehead dropped to her shoulder. You're killing me. Annabelle laughed. It felt good to laugh. To feel wanted. To feel like she had power over this powerful man. Good. She climbed off his lap. Minjun looked at her with dark eyes. Hungry eyes. Annabelle held out her hand. Come with me. Annabelle. I want you. I want this. I'm choosing this. I'm choosing you. Minjun took her hand. Let her lead him to her bedroom. Let her push him down onto the bed. Let her climb on top of him and kiss him until they were both shaking. His hands moved over her body with reverent care. Like he was memorizing her. Learning her. Every touch was a question. Every movement was patient. He waited for her signals. Her permission. Her guidance. When they finally came together, it was slow and careful and nothing like anything Annabelle had experienced before. Minjun watched her face the whole time. Made sure she was okay. Made sure she wanted this. And when she fell apart in his arms, he held her through it. Whispered to her in Korean. Words she didn't understand but felt anyway. After, they lay tangled together. Minjun's fingers traced patterns on her skin. Annabelle pressed her face against his neck and breathed him in. Are you okay? Minjun asked quietly. Yes. No regrets. None. His arms tightened around her. Good. Because I'm not letting you go now. Possessive. Yes. Annabelle smiled against his skin. She should have been worried about his uncle's words. About the danger she was bringing to him. About the complicated world she was stepping into. But right now, wrapped in Minjun's arms, she couldn't bring herself to care. The next few weeks were strange. Beautiful and strange. Minjun took her everywhere with him. Restaurants. Clubs. Meetings where men in suits bowed low and spoke in respectful tones. He never hid her. Never made her feel like a secret. But Annabelle also saw the other side of his world. The violence. The control. The fear he inspired in people. She watched him handle a man who'd stolen from him. Watched the cold way he delivered consequences. Watched him become someone else entirely. It should have scared her. Part of it did. But she also understood that this was who he was. The gentleness he showed her was real. But so was this. The darkness. The danger. All of it was Minjun. One night they were having dinner at an expensive restaurant. Private room. Just the two of them. Minjun was telling her about a property deal. Legal this time. Annabelle was listening and eating when the door opened. A woman walked in. Korean. Beautiful. She looked at Minjun with familiar eyes. Hello, Minjun. Minjun's expression went cold. Jiwoo. What are you doing here? Having dinner. Same as you. Jiwoo's eyes slid to Annabelle. Aren't you going to introduce us? No. Jiwoo laughed. She sat down at their table without being invited. I'm Jiwoo, Minjun's ex-fiancé. Annabelle felt something twist in her stomach. Ex-fiancé. Minjun had never mentioned an ex-fiancé. Leave Jiwoo, Minjun said quietly. Why? Afraid I'll tell her the truth about you? About us? There is no us. There hasn't been for 3 years. Because you broke our engagement. Because you chose your precious honor over our family's alliance. Jiwoo looked at Annabelle. Did he tell you that? That he was supposed to marry me? That our marriage would have united 2 of the most powerful families in Seoul? I said leave. Minjun's voice was dangerous now. Jiwoo ignored him. She kept looking at Annabelle. You're pretty. I can see why he's distracted. But that's all you are. A distraction. When he's done playing house, he'll come back to reality. Back to his world. Back to someone who understands him. Annabelle set down her chopsticks. She looked at Jiwoo calmly. If that's true, why are you here? Why do you care so much about a distraction? Jiwoo's smile faltered. Excuse me? You heard me. If I'm just a distraction. If Minjun is going to come back to you. Then why are you sitting at our table trying to scare me away? Seems like you're the one who's scared. Minjun made a sound. Almost like a laugh. Jiwoo's face went red. You don't know what you're talking about, Jiwoo said. Maybe not. But I know Minjun chose me. And that's enough. Jiwoo stood up abruptly. She looked at Minjun. You're making a mistake. She'll get you killed. That's my choice to make. The family won't accept this. The family will do what I tell them to do. Jiwoo left. The door closed behind her. Annabelle's heart was pounding. She looked at Minjun. Ex-fiancé? Yes. You didn't mention her. It didn't seem relevant. It's been over for years. She seems to think it's not over. Minjun reached across the table and took her hand. It's over. I ended it because I didn't love her. Because I didn't want a marriage based on business. Because I wanted something real. And is this real? Annabelle asked. Us. Yes. This is the most real thing in my life. Annabelle wanted to believe him. She did believe him. But Jiwoo's words stuck with her. She'll get you killed. Was that true? Was she putting Minjun in danger just by being with him? That night Minjun held her close. Tell me what you're thinking. I'm thinking about what Jiwoo said. About me getting you killed. She's just trying to scare you. Is it working? Minjun was quiet for a moment. Should it be? Annabelle thought about that. I don't know. I don't want to be the reason you get hurt. I don't want to be the reason your family turns on you. They won't. And if they try, I'll handle it. But what if? No what ifs. I chose you, Annabelle. I keep choosing you. Every day. Every moment. That's not going to change. Even if it costs you everything? You are everything. The words settled into her chest. Heavy and warm. Annabelle turned in his arms to face him. I love you. She hadn't meant to say it. Hadn't planned it. But there it was. The truth. Minjun's eyes went wide. Then soft. Say it again. I love you. He kissed her. Slow and deep and full of everything he couldn't say. When he pulled back, his voice was rough. I love you too. I have for weeks. I was just afraid to say it. Afraid you'd run. I'm not running. Not anymore. Promise me. I promise. They made love slowly. Carefully. Like they were sealing a pact. Afterward, Annabelle fell asleep feeling safe. Loved. Chosen. She woke up to shouting. Annabelle sat up fast. Minjun was already out of bed, pulling on clothes. Stay here. What's happening? I don't know. Just stay here and lock the door. He left. Annabelle got up and put on clothes with shaking hands. She could hear voices. Lots of them. All speaking rapid Korean. She crept to the door and opened it a crack. The living room was full of men. At least 10. All armed. Minjun was standing in the middle of them. His uncle was there too. Looking triumphant. You've left us no choice, the uncle said. You're removed as head of the family. Effective immediately. On what grounds? Minjun's voice was calm. On the grounds that you've put personal interests above the family. That you've made us vulnerable. That you've shown yourself to be unfit to lead. Who decided this? The council. We voted. It was unanimous. Minjun looked around at the men. Some wouldn't meet his eyes. Others looked angry. Conflicted. And what happens now? Now you leave. Take your woman and go. If you stay in Seoul, you're a dead man. Minjun's jaw tightened. You're making a mistake. No. You made the mistake. We're correcting it. One of the men stepped forward. Young. Maybe 30. Young, please. Just go. Don't make this harder. Minjun looked at him. Something passed between them. Then Minjun nodded once. Fine. I'll go. The uncle smiled. Smart choice. Minjun turned and walked toward the bedroom. The men parted to let him through. When he came into the room, Annabelle was standing there with tears running down her face. I heard, she said. We need to leave. Now. Minjun, this is my fault. If I hadn't. No. He grabbed her shoulders. This is not your fault. They were looking for an excuse. I gave them one. But it's not your fault. What are we going to do? We're going to leave Seoul. Go somewhere safe. Figure out what comes next. Where? Minjun pulled out his phone and made a call. He spoke quickly in Korean. Then he hung up. I have a place. Outside the city. No one knows about it except one person I trust. We'll go there. They packed quickly. Just essentials. Clothes. Documents. Money. Minjun moved with efficient speed. Like he'd prepared for this possibility. When they were ready, he took her hand. Whatever happens, he said. We're together. Okay. Okay. They walked out through the living room. The men watched them go. Some looked sorry. Most looked relieved. The uncle just smiled. At the door, Minjun stopped and looked back. You think removing me makes you safe. It doesn't. You just made the family weaker. When your enemies realize that, you'll regret this. Get out, the uncle said. They left. Minjun drove fast through the empty streets. It was barely dawn. The city was just waking up. Annabelle watched the buildings blur past and tried not to cry. This was her fault. Minjun had lost everything because of her. Stop, Minjun said quietly. Stop what? Blaming yourself. I can see it on your face. This was my choice. All of it. I knew what I was risking. I chose you anyway. But your family, your business, everything, means nothing without you. Annabelle let the tears fall. Minjun reached over and took her hand. He drove with one hand and held hers with the other. Like he couldn't bear to not be touching her. They drove for 2 hours. Out of Seoul. Into the countryside. The safe house was small. Hidden in the mountains. Basic but clean. Minjun unlocked the door and they went inside. We'll be safe here, Minjun said. For now. Annabelle looked around. It wasn't much. One bedroom. A small kitchen. A living area with a couch and a TV. But it was clean and private and no one knew about it. What happens now? She asked. Now we wait. Let things settle. Then we figure out our next move. Do you have a next move? Minjun smiled slightly. Always. They spent the next few days in hiding. Minjun made calls. Quiet conversations in Korean that Annabelle couldn't follow. He was planning something. She could tell. But he didn't share details. On the third night, someone knocked on the door. Minjun went very still. He pulled a gun from somewhere and moved to the window. He looked out carefully. Then he relaxed and opened the door. The young man from the apartment walked in. The one who'd called Minjun Hyung. He looked nervous. Jae, Minjun said. What are you doing here? I came to warn you. Your uncle is planning something. He's sending men to find you. To make sure you don't come back. I wasn't planning to come back. Hyung, he wants you dead. He's afraid you'll try to take back control. He's not taking chances. Minjun's expression went cold. How many men? 6. Maybe more. They leave tomorrow. Who's leading them? Jae hesitated. Sung-ho. Minjun closed his eyes. Of course. Who's Sung-ho? Annabelle asked. Someone I trained. Someone I trusted. Minjun looked at Jae. Why are you telling me this? Because what they did was wrong. Because you're a better leader than my father will ever be. Because half the family agrees with me, but they're too afraid to say it. Your father is the uncle, Annabelle said. It wasn't a question. Jae nodded. Yes. And I'm sorry for what he's doing. For what he's done. Minjun put a hand on Jae's shoulder. Thank you for the warning. Now go. Before someone realizes you're gone. Hyung, there's something else. Jae looked at Annabelle. Your ex. David. He's working with my father. He came to him. Offered information about you. About where you might be hiding. Annabelle's blood went cold. What? He wants revenge. For what Minjun did to him. For taking you. My father is using him. Does David know about this place? Minjun asked sharply. No. But he's helping them search. He knows your patterns. Your properties. Your associates. Minjun cursed in Korean. We need to move. Tonight. Where will you go? Jae asked. Somewhere they won't think to look. After Jae left, Minjun started packing again. His movements were quick. Efficient. Military precise. Annabelle helped. Her hands were shaking. I'm sorry, she said. This is all because of me. Because of David. Because. Minjun grabbed her face. Listen to me. This is not your fault. David is a coward. My uncle is a traitor. But you? You're just a woman who had the courage to run. To choose safety. To choose me. None of this is your fault. But if you hadn't, I'd still be living a half-life. Going through motions. Doing what I was supposed to do instead of what I wanted. You woke me up, Annabelle. You made me remember what it feels like to actually live. To care about something. Someone. I'd lose everything 1,000 times over for you. Annabelle kissed him. Hard and desperate. I love you. I love you too. Now let's get out of here before my uncle's men show up. They drove through the night. Minjun took backroads. Avoided highways. Kept checking the mirrors. After 3 hours, they stopped at a small motel. The kind that didn't ask questions. Minjun paid cash, and they went to their room. It was dingy. Old. The bed looked questionable. But it was safe. For now. Annabelle sat on the bed while Minjun checked the windows. Made sure the locks worked. Planned escape routes. When he was satisfied, he sat down next to her. I need to tell you something, he said. What? I'm going back to Seoul. Annabelle's heart stopped. What? No. They'll kill you. Not if I strike first. Minjun. My uncle made this personal. He's using your ex, putting you in danger. I can't let that stand. So what? You're going to go back and fight them all? Get yourself killed. I'm going to remind them who I am. What I'm capable of. And I'm going to make sure David never comes near you again. I don't care about David. I care about you. I don't want you to die for me. Minjun cupped her face. I'm not going to die. I'm going to end this. So we can actually have a life. Together. Without constantly running. What if something goes wrong? It won't. You can't promise that. No. I can't. But I can promise I'll do everything in my power to come back to you. Because you're my future, Annabelle. You're everything I want. And I'm not letting anyone take that away. Annabelle wanted to argue. Wanted to beg him not to go. But she could see the determination in his eyes. The cold calculation. This was Minjun the crime boss. Minjun the fighter. Not Minjun the gentle lover. When? She asked. Tomorrow. I'll leave you here. You'll be safe. No one knows about this place. I don't want to be separated from you. I know. But I need to know you're safe. I can't focus if I'm worried about you. They held each other that night. Made love like it might be the last time. Annabelle memorized everything. The feel of his skin. The sound of his voice. The way he said her name like a prayer. In the morning, Minjun got dressed. He armed himself. Guns. Knives. Things Annabelle didn't want to think about. He gave her a phone. If anything happens. If anyone comes. You call this number. Jay will help you. Minjun. I love you. Remember that. No matter what happens. I love you. I love you too. He kissed her one more time. Then he left. Annabelle watched from the window as he drove away. She wanted to run after him. To stop him. But she stayed. Because he'd asked her to. Because she trusted him. The day passed slowly. Then the night. Annabelle couldn't sleep. Couldn't eat. Just sat by the window and waited. The phone Minjun gave her stayed silent. On the second day, it rang. Annabelle grabbed it. Hello, Annabelle. It was Jay. His voice was shaking. You need to come to Seoul. To the hospital. It's Minjun. The phone fell from her hands. Annabelle didn't remember the drive to Seoul. Didn't remember finding the hospital. Didn't remember running through the corridors. All she knew was that Minjun was hurt. Maybe dying. And she needed to get to him. Jay was waiting outside a room. His face was pale. When he saw her, he stood up. Annabelle. Where is he? Inside. But you should know. She pushed past him. Opened the door. And stopped. Minjun was in the bed. He looked terrible. Bandages everywhere. Bruises on his face. But his eyes were open. And when he saw her, he smiled. You came. Annabelle ran to him. She grabbed his hand. What happened? Jay said, I thought you were dying. I'm not dying. I'm just very injured. Minjun's voice was rough. It went mostly according to plan. Mostly? My uncle is dead. Sung-ho is dead. David is in police custody. Jay is the new head of the family. And I'm free. Annabelle stared at him. What? I challenged my uncle. Traditional way. Single combat. Winner leads the family. He accepted. He thought I'd be soft. That leaving the family had made me weak. He was wrong. You killed him. Yes. And Sung-ho. He tried to interfere. Made his choice. And David? Minjun's expression went cold. I gave him a choice. Leave Korea and never come back. Or face legal consequences for his visa fraud, workplace violations, and assault charges. He chose to stay and fight. So I made sure the police had everything they needed. He's going to prison. Annabelle sat down heavily. It's over. Yes, it's over. Jay is leading the family now. He's young, but he's smart. And he's not his father. The family will thrive under him. And I'm out. Officially. No more obligations. No more ties. You gave it all up. I gave up nothing. I gained everything. Minjun squeezed her hand. I'm free, Annabelle. Free to choose my own life. Free to be with you without anyone threatening us. Free to build something real. Tears ran down Annabelle's face. You almost died. But I didn't. I'm here. I'm fine. Well, mostly fine. The doctors say I'll heal completely in a few months. A few months. Worth it. To have forever with you. Annabelle leaned down and kissed him carefully, mindful of his injuries. Minjun kissed her back like she was oxygen. Don't ever scare me like that again, she whispered. I'll try. No promises, though. I'm still me. She laughed through her tears. Yeah, you are. Recovery was slow. Minjun hated being in the hospital, hated being weak. But Annabelle stayed with him. She brought him food, helped him move when he was allowed, read to him when he was bored, held his hand when the pain was bad. Jay visited often. He was nervous about leading the family, but he was determined to do it differently. Better. He asked Minjun for advice. Minjun gave it freely. No resentment. No bitterness. Just genuine help. You're good at this, Annabelle told him one night. Advising. Teaching. Maybe that's what you should do. When you're healed. Help Jay. Guide him. Be a mentor instead of a boss. Minjun considered that. Maybe. Or maybe I'll do something completely different. Open a restaurant. Your jollof rice would bring in customers from all over Seoul. Annabelle laughed. You want to open a restaurant? Why not? I like food. I like watching you cook. Seems like a good option. You're serious. Maybe. I don't know yet. I don't have to decide right now. For the first time in my life, I have time. I have choices. I have you. You definitely have me. After 6 weeks, Minjun was released from the hospital. They went back to his apartment. The one he'd brought her to that first night. It felt like coming home. Minjun healed slowly. Physical therapy. Rest. Careful movement. Annabelle helped him through all of it. She also started school again. Minjun helped her figure out her visa. Her tuition. Everything. He said it was an investment in their future. One night, about 3 months after everything had happened, they were sitting on the couch. Annabelle was reading. Minjun was watching her. She could feel his eyes on her. What? She asked without looking up. Marry me. Annabelle's head snapped up. What? Minjun shifted to face her better. Marry me. Be my wife. Build a life with me. Minjun. I know it's fast. I know we've been through hell. I know we're still figuring things out. But I also know I want forever with you. I want to wake up next to you every day. I want to grow old with you. I want everything. Annabelle set down her book. Her hands were shaking. You want to marry me? Yes. Even though I'm nobody? Even though I come with nothing? You're not nobody. You're everything. And you come with yourself. That's more than enough. What about your family? Won't they? My family doesn't have a say anymore. This is my choice. Our choice. I'm asking you, Annabelle. Will you marry me? She looked at this man who'd protected her, who'd fought for her, who'd given up everything to be with her. This dangerous man who touched her like she was precious. This crime boss who cooked her breakfast and asked for consent and loved her with his whole heart. Yes, she said. Yes, I'll marry you. Minjun smiled. A real smile. Full and bright. He pulled her into his lap and kissed her. They stayed like that for a long time. Just holding each other. Being together. They got married quietly. Small ceremony. Just Jay and a few of Minjun's trusted friends. Annabelle's family couldn't come, but she video called them. Her mother cried happy tears. Her sister demanded to meet Minjun. Her father asked if he treated her well. He treats me like I'm the most important thing in the world, Annabelle told him. And it was true. Minjun did open a restaurant. A small place. Nigerian and Korean fusion. Annabelle cooked. Minjun managed. It was hard work. Long hours. But it was theirs. Something they built together. Sometimes late at night, after the restaurant closed, they'd sit in the empty dining room and talk. About everything. About nothing. About the life they were building. Do you miss it? Annabelle asked one night. The power. The family. All of it. Minjun thought about it. Sometimes. But then I look at what I have now. A wife I love. A business I'm proud of. A life I chose. And I realize I don't miss any of it. This is better. This is real. Even on the hard days? Especially on the hard days. Because on the hard days, I have you. And that makes everything worthwhile. Annabelle leaned against him. I love you. I love you too. Thank you for running to me that night. For trusting me when you had no reason to. For choosing me. Thank you for not letting go. For protecting me. For loving me. Always, Minjun said. Always. They sat there in the quiet restaurant. Two people who'd found each other in the darkness and chosen to build something in the light. It wasn't a perfect life. It wasn't a fairy tale. But it was real. And it was theirs. And sometimes that was more than enough. That was everything. If this story touched your heart, if you felt every moment of Annabelle and Minjun's journey, hit that like button right now. Drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from.